the most wonderful time of the year with all these delightful Christmas carols. A bit too much jingle bells on our playlist for this time of the year, though. Everything's got to have jingle bells behind it to make it sound Christmassy. I don't know. Very Northern Hemisphere, isn't it? Meanwhile, in this part of the world, we look forward to celebrating Christmas a couple of weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, it's going to be Christmas Eve. So I do hope that you've at least started to think about what you're going to be doing for Christmas this year, what's on the menu, who's going to be coming over, have you got presents for everybody, and how to hold on to the Jesus in amongst all of the busyness of Christmas. Joining me on the program now, part of the team at Laidlaw College in Christchurch, Zara Maslin. Zara, kia ora, Merry Christmas.
Morning, nice to see you.
Sorted for Christmas? Are you one of these let's prep early and let's get it all nailed down in October, halls decked and ready to go?
Absolutely not. I'm a strictly December person.
Okay.
Until the Anglicans are wearing purple, there is no hint of Christmas in our house.
Very cool. Now, it is December, of course, not meaning to shock you. It's the 10th of December, so you've had 10 days to get this locked down and sorted. Any steps in that direction, Zara?
Man, our little family we were slow to the game this year.
Okay.
Like I bought an advent calendar and then we did the first 8 days really quickly, all one morning. But it wasn't chocolate. It's not edible, so, that's...
Okay, yeah. Hey, kids, chocolate for breakfast again. Yay, we love Christmas.
Yeah, chocolate and candy cans. And my nana used to let me eat those Christmas mince pies. I'm a big fan of the
exactly.
sliced fruit. I used to get them for breakfast. That was fun.
That does sound good. Now, just checking the theology on this one. Of course, Laidlaw College, wonderful institution. So no chocolate, but is it a Barbie advent calendar or is it more of the traditional?
Hey, well, the warehouse does Jesus Advent calendars now, if you've seen them. You can get and they're on clearance at the moment. They're only 97 cents, so you can get one for each kid. Not like my family growing up, there were 6 of us, and so we all got one chocolate every 6 days.
Every 6 days. And hey, the great thing about a second-hand, slightly stale chocolate Advent calendar from the warehouse with Jesus on the front, day 1, you're eating 10 chocolates. What's not to like, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Talk to us about your family traditions. Now, you got the Advent calendar, but how do you engage with your children on the Jesus aspect of the Christmas story, Zara?
Yeah, Andrew, let me preface this by saying I, like most parents I talk to, have no idea what I'm doing. And I used to think people were saying that as a joke, but now I realize it's actually entirely genuine.
Yeah.
So me and my husband, Matt, we're parents of a 1.5-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. So I don't sleep much. I show up places with peanut butter and snot on my clothes. I hum the ABCs at work. I rock trolleys in the supermarket when it's not only got potatoes in it. There's no children anywhere.
Wow.
I'm like barely surviving, let alone thriving. But I thought a chat about Christmas ideas for the family could be kind of fun today. Yeah. Even though this is very much forming thoughts.
Keeping it real, I think, and actually that's all of us. We're still winging it. But the thing about Christmas traditions, if you wing it the same way 3 years in a row, then that's locked in a Christmas tradition for your family, right?
Yeah, you realise you've declared something. And I think being intentional is probably a good place to start here, because what I've realised is Christmas beat us to it. And maybe it's my denial of Christmas pre-December. Yep. But Christmas was here. Preschool was covered in Christmas. There's snowflakes and frosty windows all over the place. And my 3-year-old's asking me is Santa coming? And we're like, oh man, okay. Christmas has arrived and we are late to the game. So, and I think what's been important to me this year, because I realized this might be the first Christmas that my 3-year-old remembers for the rest of her life. Yeah. And that actually terrifies me.
Wow.
If I stuff it up this year, it might be a lifelong stuff up.
This could be scarring.
Whereas last year it was
she'll never remember. Actually, she'll play with the boxes more than the presents. Who cares, right?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this year, I think we're just trying to be a little bit more intentional to figure out how we do Christmas as parents ASAP. And I kind of already am New Zealand, or just the world, especially New Zealand, is just very confused when it comes to Christmas. Everything is, like you said, very Northern Hemisphere. We've got snowflakes and pine trees and frosty windows and stockings by the fire. Yeah. And I think already we're kind of identity as Christmas? You know, is it cold? Is it supposed to be cold? And, you know, I'm in Christchurch and sometimes it is quite cold. And I'm sure people even further south, it is cold. Once I saw you could buy Puhutukawa fairy lights
Oh, nice.
from somewhere. I was like, okay, now we're talking. This is
Yeah.
getting like a little bit more relevant. Didn't buy any, regret it, have thought about it for the following 10 years.
Yeah.
But I think we the same way we get confused between winter and summer Christmases and traditions, we also get confused between this like very commercialized Christmas and consumeristic and materialistic Christmas compared to this is what the Christian Christmas is all about.
You talk about the expectations that our children have, and especially as our children get older, the comparison game. Gosh, you know, you don't want to get your kids too many good presents in the first Christmas because their expectation every year is that there'll be better presents than last year. And then as they get older, they're starting to compare the presents that they're getting with what their friends are getting as well. And this gets sticky pretty quickly, actually. Kids lock into this unless we're giving a stronger message.
Yeah, and I think that's our role as parents is to be able to give the stronger message, to be able to say, you know what, yes, you're being indoctrinated by the ways of the world when it comes to Christmas, like right from the get-go. But actually in our family, this is what we do. In our family, we do this. And in our family, truly, we love stories. My 1-year-old's always bringing us books and reversing onto our laps.
Oh.
And so this year, what we've been doing is really majoring on telling the story and different versions of it.
Yep.
We've got like basic Christmas story books, like a children's Bible type thing. We've got like a rhyming book. We sing songs. We've got more complex books with like random details that I'd forgotten about in the Bible story. There's YouTube videos. And there's some things I skip over, like the murdering babies part. Like
that can keep until, at least a decade.
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe.
Yeah.
If I can not get upset talking about it, then maybe you can not get upset hearing about it.
Exactly.
But our 3-year-old, she really loves emotions, and I think, and she loves talking about feelings, and she loves the idea that in the Christmas story, someone was scared.
Yeah.
That this angel came and said, you don't need to be afraid. And, all the images in these pictures are like, someone who's scared. And she's like, why are they scared? And because that's something relatable to her as a 3-year-old. Maybe I should talk to a psychologist. I think being able to pull out those emotions and find the relatability part of the story is really important.
Yeah.
And also finding ways to spot things that she might see in the mall or she might see at preschool and realize why those things are important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have links for everything. Like, I don't know how to be like, yeah, snowman is, it's like baby Jesus,
Snowman.
chubby. And I don't have answers for everything.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I've heard people talk about like a candy cane is like a J for Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Down it's like a shepherd's crook. We're not quite there yet. I'm barely up for the 2 grams of chocolate sugar in an advent calendar, let alone the sugar in an entire candy cane.
Yeah.
Yet in our house. But yeah, things like stars. Why is there a star? Why do we have angels? Even bells, churches ring bells on a special occasion. And it's nice to be able to bring those things back to the part of the real Christmas story.
Yeah.
So that when they see them around the place, they can connect those dots.
That's such a wonderful thing to do. I just had a Christmas flashback. I've got 5 children, but one of my boys is turning 30 in January of next year. But when he was a very small boy, and he'd just become a big brother because he had, we'd had another child born into our family, the Christmas story was his favorite book. That was his favorite story, and we used to read it together. And he'd point to the wise man and go, "There's a funny man," and all of that type of stuff. And look, I'm not going to remind him of it this year that he's nearly 30. He probably wouldn't be grateful for it, but it was a bit of a Christmas tradition, and actually something which we did that year. We had one of this is a very long time ago, Zara, but we had like one of those camcorders with the cassettes in them. And we filmed the nativity story from the book. So the oldest 2, fortunately, boy and a girl, so they were Mary and Joseph.
Yeah.
And the youngest member of our family was a baby, so obviously that was Jesus. And we had teddies for wise men and all that type of stuff. And my 2-year-old son, the one for whom this was his favourite story, he got to be an angel.
Amazing.
And then he turned up in the nativity scene and he kissed the baby Jesus. And it still brings tears to my eyes telling that story, because that was something which we did in the chaos of being young parents and, as you say, peanut butter and snot up the walls, just finding some Jesus in the midst of the tinsel and chaos. Such a precious thing to be doing. And hey, at least 28 years later, still brings back some very special memories.
That's really cool. That's so cool, Andrew. And I love that you remember that, and I love that your kids would remember that. I also love that you filmed it on a cassette tape, if you can even play that.
Well, no, I don't.
But I think
I think that's just in my memory now, Zara. I'm not sure we've got the original footage anymore, but hey.
I think what you've really nailed is the experiential aspect of it. And I think lots of Christian traditions are rooted in kind of having an experience.
Yeah.
Whether that's like a hot cup of cocoa, the Americans call it, hot cup of chocolate, hot chocolate by the fire, or whatever. You know, we have those experiences and we have those memories, and the sense of anticipation. Like, I remember the anticipation of presents more so than the actual presents themselves.
Yeah.
I remember the temptation of not being able to open them more than the actual opening of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we can do those kind of experiential things with our kids, I think it's helpful, one, for them to understand what's going on in terms of the Jesus part of the story, and two, for their memories. Yeah.
Such a special time of the year. And actually, I know it's chaotic, but having a baby in the household at Christmas time just somehow makes it more Christmassy. Somehow takes us back to the time of going, you know what? It was pretty chaotic for Mary and Joseph as well, but there was blessing in amongst the chaos, right?
Absolutely. It wasn't until after I became a mum that I realized, like, the implications of giving birth in a manger.
Yeah.
And not only that, but she would have been laboring on a donkey.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't even, I hadn't considered those parts of it until I had been through labor and birth myself.
Yeah, no, it certainly brings some things into perspective. Hey, Zara, a very Merry Christmas for you and yours. Thank you for all that you've brought to the program throughout this year. Hope you have a fantastic summer break with the family. Look forward to chatting next year.
Thanks, Andrew. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.